Today in the Pipeline vlog, one of my favorite topics, bookshelves. Look, we all have bookshelves. In this modern day and age of comics collecting, the trade paperback economy dictates that we most likely all have bookshelves filled with comics in a variety of shapes and sizes, and from little manga books to much bigger absolute books to absolutely gigantic artist edition types of books. We all have them, and some of us have more than others. I myself could probably use another 3 or 4, but you know, right now I have the one major one that sits behind me from my home office, if you will, the man cave, whatever you want to call it. It sits about just out of arm's length behind me and to my left. And it's got about 6 or 7 shelves. It's one of those IKEA Billy bookcases. It stands even taller than I am, so it's about 6.5 or 7 feet tall. And it's got room on all the shelves for a variety of sizes of books. Doesn't have a manga shelf per se, but it could if I wanted to. I mean, it's got the middle shelf has to be drilled in to keep the bookshelf, you know, straight and solid. Then, of course, it's screwed into the wall behind it so it doesn't fall forward, because that's never a good thing. But it's got room on the bottom shelf for absolute editions, and it's got room on the very top shelf for the European album sizes and books that are just a little bit larger than normal, but not quite big enough to be an artist edition type books. The artist edition books, by the way, you probably shouldn't have standing up like that side by side, because it'll pull away at the binding and might hurt the books over the long run. I store mine flat in a closet, basically. When I need to get to them, it's easy enough. But bookshelves are amazing things, and I think they represent you as a comic reader in a public way more than anything else, because most of your collection, if you've been reading, you know, the monthly comics for a long time, they're all stored in, you know, long boxes or short boxes, piled up 3, 4, 5 high, maybe across in a giant row, maybe in your basement or garage or a closet somewhere. But you really don't know what's in there. If someone could walk past those books and have no idea about you as a comics reader. With a bookshelf, everything is spine out, so the titles are all on the spines of the book, and everyone can see what you're reading. So there is a certain mix and match thing you want to do, where you have the spines showing what you like, what you may be interested in, what you think are your proudest books or most special books. Combined perhaps with a bit of design in there. You want, you know, like books to be together. We all get annoyed when all of a sudden a spine design on a series of trades or hardcovers changes in the middle. The Marvel Masterworks editions were famous for those, to the point where they were offering 2 different covers with every book in case you wanted to get the cover that matched the earlier edition for the new edition, so it all lined up well on your bookshelf. Those are expensive books. That made sense. What I think is worth doing, and I've written about this before in Pipeline, I'll put a link down below in the show notes for this, is you should every now and then look at those bookshelves and restart them. You should see what books have just been sitting there forever and ever, because that's where you have room for them, and which books you would actually want to be on that bookshelf, which books you may want to reread soon, maybe which books personify your comics reading collection the best. And to that end, I think it's worth once a year or so going through those bookshelves, and if not wiping them all entirely clean, at least pulling out the ones that you aren't that interested in anymore. Not that you want to sell them perhaps, but just put them in a box and store them away for now. You may come back to them at some point, and if you get rid of them, odds are tomorrow is the day you'll want to reread them for the first time. So don't do that to yourself. But pick the ones that are most interesting to you. Pick the ones you're most likely to read. Pick, if you're anything like me, pick that stack of books that you haven't read yet that you keep saying you're going to read one day, and put that on one shelf altogether. Even if it looks like a complete mess from afar, it's really cool to have this moment when you want to read a comic book but you're not sure what to read, just to go to that shelf and almost to pick one at random and to go with that. It's kind of a comics roulette wheel of fun, if you will. But your comic shelves represent you, and I think you should take some care in making them what you want them to be. So once a year, do a big reorg. I think I'm probably due for a little bit now. I've changed mine I wrote an article that I wrote an article in CBR a couple of years ago about this. I republished it at pipelinecomics.com last fall, at which point I had made some changes. And even since then, and it's only been, well, it's almost been a year now, I guess 9 months or so, I've made more changes. Things just continue to evolve. As I get more of, especially the European albums, I'm finding I have to make more room on my top two shelves, which are taller shelves, to put those in. So it's never going to end. This is the joy of comic book collecting. There's always something new, and there's always something to have fun with, and there's always something more to read and organize. And oh my goodness, could we talk organization? We could talk organization all day, but I don't want you sitting here looking at YouTube for the next half an hour. You've got a life too. Thank you for watching all these great bookcase ruminations. Don't forget to subscribe below. Tell all your friends to do so. Retweet the heck out of this video because I think it's something that comic book fans the world over are always interested in and love talking about. Tell me more about your bookcases, your bookshelves in the comments below. Let's see what else we can learn from each other.